Have you just heard about the Aduro Clean Technologies and are not really sure what the company actually does? Or are you a new investor who is not really still 100% sure what the company is actually doing? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you a quick introduction and an overview over the company. So what is Aduro Clean Technologies, ticker symbol ADUR on the Nasdaq? Well, to sum it up, their flagship asset is the best plastics recycling technology in the world. It's probably the best way to summarize the company. They have other assets, but this is pretty much their flagship asset. So the advantage of this technology is that it can handle the major plastic types that are in normal garbage, and also it can handle it in a mixed form. So you don't have to separate the different plastic types out. And it is on track to be the first profitable chemical plastic recycling technology in the world. So there are other plastic recycling technologies that are already profitable, but they are not chemical, they are mechanical recycling. And I'm going to show you later why this is like a really big deal, that Aduro is actually looking like it might be the first profitable company in the space. So the process has already been proven on a small scale. So this is not one of those companies who promises investors forever that they're gonna soon for sure start something and build it soon. They already have a proven process. It actually works. They have results. They have validated this with multiple partners. The next step here is just proving it on a larger scale and that can actually be commercially viable, which I believe there is a very good chance that this will work. But again, this has to be proven by the company. And yeah, I guess we'll have to see. So far, there have been no large delays. There have been some delays, but for good reasons or not super consequential delays. So that's always great, that it's not like delayed by 5 years like many other promising technologies. The management is extremely competent with very high insider ownership and frequent communications. So the insiders own over a third of the company and have never sold a single share since the company existed. And they communicate around 3 to 4 times a month. So you always are up to date of what a company is about. And it's not like the similar microcap story where they update you once a quarter. So here you're always in the loop and know what's going on. And like I mentioned, the technology is absolutely massive. And the upside if the technology actually scales can be 10 to 1,000x from the current valuations. Again, this is not a promise, this is not financial advice, this is not based on super robust projections, but if you just look at it, the company is worth 350 million USD currently. And if you actually, think about it, if they actually deliver the goods and this becomes actually the first profitable, chemical plastic recycling technology, I mean, it's pretty clear that the technology and the company is not worth 350 million, but multiples of that. How many multiples? Well, that's for reality to decide, and depending on how investors see the company and how optimistic they get. So here we're going to go a little bit more in an image-based presentation style, so you don't have to read as much. Like I mentioned, this is their flagship technology, their chemical recycling of plastic waste, which I believe is, especially in the shorter term, is going to be the major profit and revenue driver. But they also have other technologies. For example, the partial upgrading of heavy crude oils. They also put in quite significant resources into showing that this actually works on a, let's say, small scale. And the idea here is that you take heavy and dense crude oil, upgrade it to a lighter oil, which makes it not only let's say higher quality and be worth more money, but it's also way easier to transport it through pipelines, which is a big issue for all these very, very dense and viscous oils. They also have this vertical of converting renewable oils into sustainable fuels. This is, again, it is a pretty sizable vertical, but they haven't put in a lot of effort in. And this vertical is pretty much recycling things like rubber tires, which is currently also a very big problem in the world. And it's still prospective, but I think this has also a really big shot and a really good chance of actually working. So this is the current state of plastic recycling in the world. And as you see, we put all this effort into putting it in special bins and putting so much effort in plastic recycling, and then 50% of it ends in a landfill anyways. 22% gets released into the environment, in the oceans, in rivers, in forests, and it's really, really bad with all the microplastics, etc. 20% of it gets incinerated. So, more pollution, more CO2, more, just resources wasted. And around 9% is mechanically recycled. This is especially for example, PET plastic bottles, which can be quite nicely recycled with mechanical recycling. But again, the stream has to be pretty clean for that. And about 1% is chemical recycling, although it's probably significantly less than 1%. So, chemical recycling is really can really tap all those other 90% that are not feasible for mechanical recycling. And, again, the very big deal about Aduro that they can actually do it profitably. So you don't have to depend on, some green investors who want to do something good for the environment or on government grants. It's actually a profitable business. It's gonna be, we hope. So what differentiates Aduro from other technologies? These are the major other technologies. There are other types of technologies that recycle plastics, but these are like the front runners, let's say, that so far have been dominating the chemical recycling. And they are all pretty much thermolysis and pyrolysis. And all of this is pretty much heating up plastic until it dissolves either into a goo with pyrolysis, or you heat it up even more until the whole plastic vaporizes pretty much, and then you use the gas for something useful. But again, this is all like, it has a lot of issues. That's why it hasn't been profitable yet so far. And chemolysis, the technology of Aduro, which is water-based, promises to be actually very high yield, sustainable, and very profitable. So here you see like the upsides of the technology. So like I mentioned, all plastics, including cheap sorting residues, can be taken in, which guarantees maximum carbon recovery. When they say all plastics can be taken in, this is kind of true, right? But the main factor here is that no plastic type and no, nothing that can really clog up the machine, which is the important part. They obviously can't recycle all the plastic types into a usable output product, but at least you can pretty much dump your whole unsorted plastic waste just in the reactor. And again, there's no need to remove food residues, papers, multi-layer plastics, inks, glues, and you don't need to dry it. Because how typical recycling technologies like pyrolysis work is you shredder your input stream, you wash it with water, and then you dry it. And especially the drying is like very expensive, right? Imagine like a huge mass of wet plastic that you have to dry really thoroughly. It's pretty energy intensive, and that means even more costs. And again, the effort of sorting, and sometimes things are so mixed in you can't really sort them and have to reject it, and you can process it. Also, a big upside of their water-based technology is that there's little loss to char or gas due to low temperature conditions. Like I mentioned, the other technologies pretty much just heat the plastic up until it turns into a medium useful goo, and the efficiency of the let's say legacy chemical recycling technologies, the yield efficiency is about 60%, where Aduro gets 90% plus. So there's like a great advantage. And also, of course, the low heat means we need way less electricity, which means our reactor is not gonna corrode as quickly. And also, of course, we save on electricity and on costs. And also a big upside of Aduro's technology that we get a ready-use product without expensive post-hydrogenation. So to explain this would go into a little bit more chemical details, which I don't really want to do in this introduction video. But just imagine it as, you need a hydrogenated output product for it to be viable for a customer. And for example, in pyrolysis, the product is not hydrogenated. So that means you need to build a hydrogen plant and then a post-processing plant to turn the output stream hydrogenated, which again means more costs, more OPEX. The plant is way larger, it's way more effort, way more things can break, it's more expensive, etc., etc., etc. And Aduro allows for a clean separation and recovery on non-hydrocarbons. So if there's some residue or some contamination in there that might be actually valuable, you can still collect it and sell it, which you can't really do with the other technologies, because everything either burns up or contaminates the product. And it results in the high value input for new plastic production. So they can use the output oils pretty much to produce new plastic. Or they can also tune it to, for example, produce gasoline if that makes sense financially in that case, or if the customer wants it for some reason. So they can claim this is like green recycled gasoline, and this will definitely be at a premium price compared to normal gasoline. So just again, like a short overview of the advantages of the technology. Again, it's milder compared to pyrolysis. It's milder conditions, lower temperatures, which means, and also because our yield is way, way higher, we produce way less CO2, we don't lose carbon. And this is again for, all the subsidies and green marketing, etc. It's amazing. And also carbon taxes in European countries in the next couple of years. And so, again, you might get a lot of carbon credits, and this might be another revenue source. Again, it's cost efficient because it uses less energy, requires minimal pre-sorting and minimal post-treatment. And again, this reduces operating expenses, which increases the likelihood that's actually going to be profitable. And HCT can process plastic waste with contaminants, PET, EVOEH, also PVC, for example, is like a major contaminant for normal plastic recycling. And Aduro can deal with it. They can't really do much with it, but it at least doesn't, mess up the reactor. And again, you can now recycle challenging and very polluted mixed waste, which no one else can really handle. And this means also the input is going to be very, very cheap because really no one else wants it. So again, don't have to read all of this in detail. It's just like, again, another overview slide. Aduro has 90+% yield. That's already been proven. It's not just a promise. They already, shown it many thousands of runs that they can achieve these efficiencies. Again, minimal post-processing, which makes everything simpler and cheaper. We can deal with with more and more contaminants, which means our input waste is going to be way cheaper because no one else can really do anything with it. We have lower emissions, which is also great, better energy efficiency, and we support circularity because we can use it right away to produce more plastic. Again, it's flexible because we can take multiple feedstocks. We don't have to rely on a clean stream of a single plastic type like other technologies. Lower emissions. Scalability is also a very big deal. You don't have to build like a humongous reactor, which has to be fed from all over the country. You can build it like on a small scale, next to a factory, for example, that produces some type of plastic waste, and you can instantly recycle it. And, it's amazing. And simpler products, you can tune the product exactly how you want it to. And I'm going to explain it later, but that's also a big advantage. And here, Aduro can really tune which of those output types they get. It's going to get a little bit more complicated if I go into detail, but pretty much this C number defines the chain length of the molecules that they produce. So they can tune it up. For example, in this run, 80% of the output is between chain length of 2 and 20. So this might be one of the lighter products. This will be one of the heavier products, and they can tune it up and down how they want it to. And again, 95% of recycling efficiency in this specific run. Now this is I would say this is pretty much like best case scenario. So in reality, it's probably going to be around 90% or like low 90s. But this shows you that, if you get the proper stream, you can get 95%, efficiency. And also this waste is pretty limited. And the fuel gas theoretically can be reused to, produce electricity, which means, your energy blueprint is even lower. So they have research engagements. I'm not going to go into detail. All of those you can read them, but they have research engagement with the University of Western Ontario, with Brightlands Camelot Campus, and with the Camelot Circular Hub. You can do your own due diligence and read more into it. This is more just an introduction. They received multiple grants from different companies and organizations. They have 10 memberships with different organizations, associations, etc. So they're not just hyping up some technology. They're actually really trying to engage with partners and show that the technology is actually going to be part of the ecosystem and is going to be actually profitable. So one of the best examples here that Aduro is not just talk. They entered into a pretty extensive collaboration with Total Energies last year, and this technology involves multiple full-time people from Total Energies collaborating very closely with Aduro. So it's not just talk. One of the largest petrochemical and oil companies in the world is actually engaging with Aduro, which for me is one of the largest proofs that it's not just talk. And Aduro can't really I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you know what I'm saying, right? Also, Aduro was selected for the Game Changer program from Shell, also another major petrochemical and oil company, about 3 years ago. And they've been progressing along quite nicely. They're close to the end. And to show you that this is not just talk, when you go to the Shell website and see under the section of currently running a project with Shell, Aduro shows up. So it's not just Aduro telling us that they are engaging with Shell. Shell is actually confirming it. Because there are companies out there that say, oh, we have this and this partner, and then you talk to the partner, oh, who is that even, right? So it's not a scam, it's 100% legit. And again, this is more of an advanced slide. You don't really have to understand it fully, but it just shows you that they have engagements in all different parts of this value chain. So in waste management, they have engagements. In the chemical manufacturing and oil extraction, they have engagement. They have engagement in the plastics retails division. So these are the people that produce the actual plastics that they need recycled. So that's great to see. Even if one of those segments doesn't work out, they have backups. They are well diversified with different types of customers and also different types of waste streams with both multi-layered clean streams and dirty streams. So, they're testing it on real world waste, not just a lab product. They know what they have to deal with in the real world when they have to actually build a commercial plant. So here we see, the stages that they have to go through until they end up at commercialization, which is, of course, for every investor is the goal. We want to see cash flows, we want to see money, we want to see earnings, we want to see profits, revenues, etc. But you can't get there right away. So they already passed the lab scale. They're currently building their pilot plant, for which results we will get, either Q1 or early Q2 2026. After that, it goes to the demo scale, which is just a scaled up pilot plant, which is going to be a small commercial unit. Imagine the demo as a small commercial unit. Then obviously after that, it is a full scale commercial unit. And I would say once the demo completes, it's pretty much a commercial unit. And at that point, we will see partners coming in and signing royalty agreements or licensing agreements. This is just pretty much the same thing, just shown in a different way. So currently they are in the commissioning of their pilot plant and in the design phase of their demonstration plant. If you watch this video way later on, they're obviously going to be further along, I hope. And so what you can see here is that the demonstration plant is already pretty close to the commercial plant size. So it's 1 ton per hour, while the commercials are going to be 2 to 4. So the demonstration plant is pretty much already a commercial plant. It's a smaller one, but it works. And as you see here from this chart, they haven't said this explicitly, but if you see here, once the commissioning of the demo plant is done, they expect commercial contracts coming in, right? Which makes sense because the demo plant is a commercial plant. If they see, if their partners run it through a commissioning, see like the first test runs, oh, okay, it actually works. It's actually profitable. This is like a small commercial scale. Okay, let's commission you for us to build like a full-size commercial plant, and we're gonna pay you royalties. And Aduro is gonna be, I would say, getting sizable revenues from this point on. And obviously, once the licensing revenue comes in, investors can use a calculator and math out what valuations the company is gonna have, and I think by that point, it's going to be pretty clear that the technology is not worth $350 million. That's pretty clear. Here I've done a little bit. This is like in a separate video. If you want to learn more about this, I'm going to leave the link to the description of the full video. But it's pretty much just, I would say, napkin math. You might say, oh, these numbers are totally bullshit. I'm going to use my own numbers. Oops, sorry, let me go back. You can use other numbers if you want to, but just doing some napkin math in the, let's say, most optimistic case and assuming 10% global share, this is where I come up with the 1000x number. But again, this is just like speculation and not telling you that this will definitely happen. But, the math actually supports this. So it's not just, just fairy tale numbers. So yeah, again, as a reminder, Aduro trades on the NASDAQ under the ticker ADUR. And yeah, that's pretty much my short introduction. Share this video with everyone who wants to learn about Aduro or who absolutely needs to learn about it, in your opinion. And the best way to support my channel is to subscribe. It's free. It takes you like 2 seconds and really shows me that you want to see more videos. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Subscribe to the channel, share this video around everywhere you can, and thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.